So India Arie does not like Young Miami's song Spend That, and she was really vocal about it. Let's talk about it. They 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 talk about it. Welcome back to She Could Talk the Podcast. I'm your host, Gangalee. A, and that's Gangalee on all streaming platforms. If you want to check out my music, look for the red glasses, look for the locks. You tell me if I can rock, okay? Okay. But over here on YouTube, on She Could Talk the Podcast, this is where I react to everything. I react to news, sports, crimes, musicians, politicians, YouTubers, TikTokers. If they're talking about it, I'm talking about it, okay? Okay. Now, as you can see, I'm in the music side of the house, if you will, okay? So, this has been up and down my algorithms for the last couple of days. And I said, this is very interesting because simultaneously, while India Arie and Young Miami, the debate about her song, is it a good song for the community, for the culture, or is it just a hit, a summer hit, and we shouldn't look into it any deeper? That debate was kind of picking up, right, in my algorithms, simultaneously while a news article was picking up in my algorithms around the same thing, if you will. So I said, this will be a great way to put it together. And then we can kind of ask the question, is India Arie wrong or right about her stance on the type of song that Spend That is, right? Now, if you're not familiar, Young Miami, which was formerly one half of the City Girls, right? JT and Miami, from Florida, right? So she's a solo artist now, and she dropped a song called Spend That. It's a viral song. You're gonna hear a little bit in here. YouTube, I love you. I'm gonna try and play a little bit. YouTube, I love you. So I'll say it in advance. I apologize in advance if it's been snipped out because you know who did it. YouTube, I love you. However, I'll try to get to a little bit in there in case you're not familiar with the song. But before we get there, what I wanted to do was kind of start out with India Arie. It's been making a lot of buzz, a lot of debate, a lot of talk around her stance on the song, right? And I think she put a post up and it's been getting mixed reviews. Some people agree, some people disagree with how she feels about the song. So I said this would be a great way to kind of just look at it in the totality of everything because me just sitting back looking, I see it on my timeline, I see everything comes across my timeline, right? And I said this would be a great way to react to it all. So we're going to start out with India Arie, what she has to say. Then I'm going to go into a news article. And then from there, I'm going to slide down a TikTok rabbit hole. And yes, we're going to hear from, and I'm going to shout him out now. I think it's Spectrum Wave Medium on TikTok. So we're going to end it with Spectrum Wave Medium on TikTok. But let's start out with India Arie. So without further ado, we're going to get into her comments. She didn't really have a video that I seen. If there's a video out there, guys, talkers, I love you. Tag me in the video, send the link my way, and then I'll even spin the block. But I couldn't find a video of her vocalizing disdain, if you will, for the song. But I did find a post. So we'll start there. And shout out to the Shade Room. Shout out to the Shade Room. You see, their logo up there. So this is where I got it from. Let's go. So it says, India Arie responds to commentator who says people should boycott Young Miami song. So someone said, I'm calling for a boycott. Now, it's going to go back as we go into the video showing India Arie's original post. So we're starting out with her responding to someone who responded to her post, and then we'll end this segment right here with India Arie's post. So we're going kind of in reverse, if you will, okay? So it says, I'm calling for a boycott of Young Miami's song, Spend That. I believe it's degrading to our culture. At some point, we have to take seriously the power music has over our perception and the values it reinforces. This can't be the song of the summer. Right? So that's what one person said. And then India Arie responded to them and said, I spent my entire adult life caring way too much because I finally learned that not enough people cares with a capital C. And explaining it to them is not going to make them care. Everything you listen to or see or eat is going to influence you. So make wise choices, y'all. Which I agree with that. Everything you do, things you put into your body today might taste good, but it might, I say a moment on your lips, lifetime on your hips, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, everything has, you know, a repercussion or a consequence or an end result, if you will, right? So yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, but as far as what she's saying, they're like, hey, just kind of choose your music wisely. That's what and I'm gonna say this response that India Irie gave to the young lady who's requesting a boycott on Young Miami song. I think the response that she gave to her, this is how I take it, my perception, is like, hey, she's an adult. She's not going to crusade or go out to ban anyone's song because she realizes that, society is, it doesn't care. Everyone's for self. Everyone's like in a do you society, a YOLO, you'll only live once type of society. So everyone's focused on that, right? So, but she said she agrees. Like everything you listen to, see, or eat is going to influence you. So make wise choices. It's true. Like, I'll just give you a story about me real quick. It was a point in time where it's like I'm cleaning up the house and I would just throw on, I don't know, investigative discoveries because they have like a marathon. Like this is years ago, a couple of years ago, but they'll have like a marathon to some stuff, right? She has to be over 10 years ago because I'm cordless on the TV, if you will, right? Roku and all that stuff, but we don't have cable per se, like traditional. So this was back when I had traditional, and they were just like, how you have those days where like a Saturday, where Bravo or MTV or Investigative Discovery or Lifetime even would just run movies and series like episodes. You just caught up in the mix, right, of watching them. I got caught up in the mix of watching like, oh, I can tell you every episode damn near, up until a certain year, if you will. Every crime on Investigative Discovery. It was a show called oh man, Wives with Knives, all types of stuff, right? And you're watching that stuff, and I can't be like, hubby used to be like, yo, like you can't take all that in so much because that's dark, and like it's reality, like it's basically, you're seeing someone else's stuff, but that's not affecting me, whatever. Now, thank you, Jesus, has not affected me in those type of ways of me watching a show, but it do dampen your spirit, right? So it's like you start looking at everything like you're looking for a crime, right? If you will. So I understand that where it's like you have to be careful of what you take in because it can start to affect you, right? Like if you're watching too much, conspiracy theories, right? And I'm into all of that, right? But imagine just watching that every day, all day, 24 hours a day, and then you step outside, you're gonna see a conspiracy theory in everything, right? You're gonna be like, huh, and then you're gonna want to go back inside, right? And that can affect your social life, right? So stuff like that. I agree. Like you have to and then eating. I just used the saying of, eating food can, gain weight if you eat the wrong thing, if you're not conscious of what you're eating, right? If you're not conscious of what you're taking in mentally, scrolling through the internet, how you see all those I literally had to, because I didn't subscribe to those things, right? On Instagram, but you would see a lot of fighting, a lot of violence at one point in time, not now. My timelines are good right now. So shout out to you, IG. But it was a point in time I'm like, yo, what is going on? Like I don't even subscribe to this madness. Why is so much popping up in my feed, right? And think about that. The word feed. Your social media feed is feeding you stuff. Right? So you may not think it's affecting you or you're taking it in, but you really are taking it in. Am I making it? I hope I'm making some sense there. So I get what she's saying there. I don't take that as her chastising Young Miami. But let's continue on because that's not the original post that, started. That was the catalyst for this all. So let's see what else took place, if you will. You know me, I don't like to fast forward. All right. So it says the mass acceptance of this song itself is a crystal clear sign of the bigger problem. I finally realized that not everybody wants to get free. It was a very rude awakening. And so it says here, I finally realized that not everybody wants to get free. It was a very rude awakening, shaking my head, because the mass acceptance of this song is a crystal clear sign of this is a much bigger truth, of this much bigger truth. So I'm gonna read it one more time because it felt like it was maybe reverse on the first post. Let me go back. Oh, I think was it blurred out? The mass acceptance of this song itself is a crystal clear sign of the bigger problem. I finally realized that not everybody wants to get free, and it was a very rude awakening. So it says she responded to a now deleted threads. So she responded on the thread. Okay, so it's two different responses. That was throwing me off. Okay, so she responded on a now deleted thread and said, "The mass acceptance of this song itself is a crystal clear sign of the bigger problem. I finally realized not everybody wants to get free, and it was a very rude awakening." Okay, so that was on the threads, and then let's see here, and then I think she posted it. I finally realized that not everybody wants to get free. And it was a very, very, very rude awakening, shaking my head, because the mass acceptance of this song is a crystal clear sign of this much bigger truth. So she was definitely trying to get that message that she was feeling some way that day. Okay. So, but this is what I say about that. The song is catchy, right? Now, am I going to say Young Miami is a lyricist? No. Am I going to say Young Miami is one of the best rappers out there I've heard? No. I would not even insult myself like that. Okay? Okay. Now, however, it is a catchy song. I can see the fun in the song and I can see the funny or the comedy in the song. But if I'm looking at it correctly, which is not good, but if I'm understanding the song correctly, she's saying like, "Where's the scam is at? Like, come, you know, spend your money on her or spend the money," because I guess the scammers may be now replacing the drug dealers of old back in the days or whatever. And I'm not saying scamming is nothing. I am not condoning that. I do not like any of that culture behavior. You hear me? This is where I say lick shot upon the whole situation. That's how I feel about it. But so on one hand, I can understand how people like the song, right? It has a comedy, like the sarcasm of it all, right? Then the audacity of it all. It's a lot of different ways that you could look at that song. And then on top of it, it does have like a little nice beat to it, and it's summertime, so it's not like something hard on your ears to listen to, right? And then her voice kind of almost the way she's singing, like kind of off key, if you will. It's given childlike, right? So songs like that are melodic, simple, and elemental, if you will. They're hypnosis waiting to happen, if you will. So it is. She has all of the winnings of a hit, right? But now going deeper, I know India Arie is a talent. Okay, music is her gift. Music is her life. She's a singer, song creator, writer. She has a lot of awards, a lot of accolades to reflect just that, right? One of my favorite songs, and I have a few, but one of my favorite songs for India Arie is Video. Like, I'm not the type of girl in your video, not the type of girl to be the supermodel, right? And at the time when that song came out, yeah, we were kind of, it was frowned upon to be the video girl, if you will, or the video vixen, because you wasn't just a girl in the video. You was also the girl in the video, as in Diddy. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was a potential you could be having multiple jobs or multiple positions, right? So those were the stigmas, if you will, that was associated with being a supermodel, being a video vixen back then. Right now, not all of us felt like that because I love videos. I've auditioned for videos. I've been in videos. Like, not all of us, felt like, oh, it's a curse. But we appreciate it because we did not, none of us, whether you were a video vixen or not, nobody wanted to be sexualized, right? You didn't want to be looked at for your body or, etc. You wanted to be appreciated for being up another person with maybe good characteristics, good appeal conversation, stuff like that, right? So we didn't really rely heavily, and it wasn't a big culture for us. Like at no, it wasn't on the top of the list. Like, oh, I want to be a video vixen. Whereas nowadays, it's like IG models, video vixens, OnlyFans. All those things are not only things that people aspire to be, but they are lucrative. Like, they're lucrative. You know what I'm saying? Like, back in the days, the most that you probably would get, and I don't know because I don't want to take no money away from the video vixens of days of old, but I know they had to do a lot of work, and I don't think they have gotten as much money as maybe these girls are just doing, posting pictures on OnlyFans, or doing a couple of photo shoots and videos on Instagram or even TikTok, right? Sheesh, you don't have to do anything freaky or crazy. You could just try your hand at content creating or streaming, right? So it's so many different other avenues right now that yeah, you do want to be seen. Yeah, you do want to be on TV. You do, not saying TV per se, but creating content. You know what I'm saying? It's a different world. So I can see both sides of the fence, is what I'm saying. I could see how India would feel like, yo, this is a rude awakening how many people love this song, right? And also they also say when you become so, I don't know if I want to say that word, but aware. When you become so aware of everything around you, when the veil is lifted, that also can be scary too, because you can see things, and I'm guilty of that. You know, you see things that you're like, no one else is seeing this, and it can make you go a little crazy. It can make you not say go a little crazy, but at least feel like you're going crazy, if you will, right? So sometimes it is okay to just be like, hey, we don't have to take everything that serious. Now, I'm not saying go through life, not taking anything seriously. I'm not saying that. I'm saying every now and then we can give ourselves a mental break, right? Step off the soapbox, right? And enjoy a song like Young Miami, right? If you know that you're not, your only intent is to enjoy the song and that's it, right? I've heard so many songs about, like, for example, one of my favorite reggae songs is oh my God, I see him right now. Could I one of them? Could I two of them? Could I three of them? I will wind them. Could I four of them? Even more of them? You know that song? Cock up your leg. That's my song. Step up into the club and get a rubber dub. And I wind up. This dude is talking about effing in the water, effing in the tree, effing on the dresser, effing on your knees, like all over the place, like effing on the bus, on the van, like because this it's reggae. You know how the reggae songs and the dance hall, like how the pasa pasa is and everything, right? So that song doesn't mean I'm necessarily gonna be out there in the trees and in the woods and in the dresser on the on the van top, if you will, right? But it's a song that I like and it gets you lit. So like you're like, hey, hey, when you in that mood, it's time for the song type of joint. Like when you feeling that vibe. So, and maybe that wasn't even a good example because I love that song. That's one of my favorite songs. But do you know what I'm saying? Like you could listen to a song like okay, we could use because the Knicks just won. What's that song? I got 100 guns, 100 clips, because I'm from New York. And this girl did a joke and said, "Is your husband, because the Knicks won, is he walking around the house singing, I got 100 guns, 100 clips, and he has an office job?" Exactly. That's a perfect example right there, right? So you can enjoy the music. That doesn't mean dude has 100 guns and 100 clips laying in his crib, but he's hyped the Knicks won. That's the Knicks That's like a New York anthem, right? I'm from New York, and everybody's proud to be from New York this time of year, right now, right? I don't even think the pride wore off yet, and it shouldn't. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to New York, send y'all an e-kiss. So that's what I'm saying. But I also understand the world we live in nowadays. And I understand that we have new people in the world, right? And not everyone's perception is the same. Okay. And the way prices and the way living expenses are set up versus opportunities, it's crazy. And I feel like, in my opinion, all this scamming stuff has caused that margin of comfortable living and your paycheck for a lot of people to kind of have a gap in between, because now we're taking care of, or having to, retail and wholesalers having to make up for loss, right? And how are they going to make up for loss? By increasing prices, right? So it's a cycle that it does hurt the community. And when I say community, yes, the black community, but the entire, whatever neighborhood you live in right now, if your neighbor is, one side of you is white, the other side is Mexican, that community too is what I'm saying. Like everyone who goes to the same grocery store, the same bodega, the same whatever that you go to, is going to affect them too, right? If you know that someone is always going in there and stealing stuff. And then the guy's like, hey, I can't keep my doors open and still charge y'all low prices, and then y'all still coming in here and stealing. I'm gonna have to do one or the other. Either close the door and then the whole community suffers. You don't get no access to stuff, or raise the prices so I can keep my doors open. But then you guys suffer because either way you look at it, you're gonna suffer because you're gonna have to pay either high prices or no prices at all because you don't have access to it no more. You see what I'm saying? So I don't think that they think about that in that regard. So I do, and I see, I don't like. That's what I'm saying. I don't like none of it at all. But am I going to blame Young Miami? No. Am I going to say it's her fault? No. This has been going on. This has been out of control. But because it's out there and it is out of control, I think that's why the song is going good. Literally on my phone, the most person that calls me throughout the day is Scam Likely or Scam Alert. You see what I'm saying? And I'm like, yo, what is going on? You would think that I put my number up on a billboard or something. You know what I'm saying? So it's just to see it it's like every day, everywhere you go, you see it in some form of fashion. You may not even think about it, but you're seeing some type of scam or scam prevention or something. You know what I'm saying? In place. So it's an appropriate song in that realm because it's something that's really happening right now, like, I don't know. Back in the days, a lot of people was, like violence in school, right? And bringing guns to school and, being violent, teenagers being violent in school. And I'm just thinking about when I was in high school, so that was years ago, etc. But I'm saying, metal detectors. You didn't want metal detectors in the schools and all that stuff, right? And it was like a big thing about it. And you're like, oh, this is just, encouraging the kids to bring guns and saying that it's okay, like whatever the talk was around at the time, it was something then. So when you had a song like Self Destruction come out around that time, all right, it resonated with us because we're like, damn, they got metal detectors in school, people bringing guns, people stabbing each other on a train, people robbing each other. Yeah, we headed for self destruction. You see, that was relevant for that time. I even mentioned India Arie with the video song. It was relevant for that time. Now, I would just feel the same thing with the Young Miami song. It's relevant for this time. But speaking of relevant for this time, could it be too relevant for this time? And that's what the question I want to ask y'all. Is India Arie wrong? I don't think she's wrong.
Police say one of the best clues.
But is this relevant? Is this relevant for this time?
Clues came from a TikTok video made to Young Miami's viral song Spin Dat about boosting and scam.
And if you don't know what you're looking at here, let me set up the context for you, if you will. A mother and daughter has been going state to state, and they stole up to $537,000 worth of high-end luxury bags from places like Louis Vuitton, like, just high-end luxury bags. Like right here, she has a handful of Louis Vuitton bags that they stole, right? And this TikTok video is what got them caught. Mother and daughter is what got them caught. Because not only were they brazen enough to go in the store and steal those bags, they were super brazen enough to go online and brag about it. And the song in particular that they used is the scamming song from Young Miami. So now hear me out now. We're going to leave India Arie alone because I already said I don't think she's wrong with her comment, and I don't think she really came for Young Miami. I think she's more so looking at the society at large that we're living in today. So it's not really necessarily about Young Miami. That's my opinion. We'll deep dive a little bit more, but that's my opinion. Now, let's bring it over to Young Miami. Young Miami might be low-key doing the Lord's work, right? And hear me out. Because she's saying boosting ninjas, where y'all at? Flip it, popping tags, throw it in the bag, like stealing stuff. Boosters, where y'all at? She's looking for them, right? So some people be like, yeah, I'm looking for the booster because I'm going to get a discount on the Louis Vuitton bag, right? But who else could be looking for the boosters? Who else? The Popo. So they probably like the song too. Because you don't think they sitting up there like boosting itch base, where y'all at? Come out, show yourself. Show me out there popping tags. You know what I'm saying? Like they looking for it too, is what I'm saying. So it could be in one way viewed as a bad thing, but in another way it could be, it's like, hey, point them out. you're doing the cops' work. Point them out for us, Young Miami. Who is doing what? So it was like these two women right here, mother and daughter. They got caught because of this. So let's go back a little bit now that we're giving a little context. And it says Booston mother and daughter duo arrested after posting a TikTok
video made to Young Miami's viral song Spin Dat about boosting and scamming.
Police said this video posted to TikTok shows the mama with the two stolen Louis Vuitton bags worth $7,000. 5 days after her daughter Janice Downs was spotted on surveillance, boosting them same bags from Nordstrom's in Seattle.
Go get a job. Oh my God, bro.
This is mother and daughter, guys.
Show me your money.
In what police are describing as the major retail theft ring, as Janice, aka Punchy, had just paroled after being caught stealing over $500,000 in Lululemon.
You would think that, after the, what she experienced in 2024, that, hey, maybe, she would change what she's doing. But again, clearly she hasn't chosen to do that.
25-year-old Janice Down now faces up to 110 years in prison while facing 17 felonies across 2 states. But her mama just made bail after posting a $50,000.
So we're going to pause it right here. I'm going to pause it right there because this is the actual video. I went on TikTok and found it. And before we go into that, did you hear that? The daughter is facing 117 years in jail. The mother is out on bond, on a $50,000 bond. How do y'all feel about that? You saw the daughter was the one that was actively going in there and grabbing the stuff. But who was here dancing on TikTok with the bags? And then look at the caption that the daughter put on there. It says, point of view, when your mom is your only friend. So I have a little, I don't know. My spidey senses is tingling about that. This is the vibe I'm pulling from the ether. I could be wrong. I don't know these people. Okay? The vibe I'm getting is she's always been trying to live up to her mother's expectations and make her mother happy and do whatever it takes to make her mother happy. Look at her mother. Let's look one more time. Look at the point of view that her daughter typed up there. The daughter that's in jail right now, facing 117 years, and while her mom's out on bond, probably finding someone else to scam for her. But let's go back and let's look at the mom really quickly.
While facing 17 felonies across 2 states. But her mama just made bail after posting a $50,000.
Spin that shit. Spin that shit. Spin that shit. Boosting bitches.
Can I hit y'all with the what? To me, the vibe I get from it is the mother enjoyed it. A lot of it was for the mother, who is in the video with the bags. And the caption says, point of view, when your mom is your only friend. Now, to me, I feel like if I'm saying when your mom is your only friend, me and her both in the video dancing. Like me and mom would be in the video both with the bags and dancing and like, hey, we a team. We spend that ish. And I'm just saying. But she has her mom in the video, bragging and showing off the bags that they stole, that she really stole for her mom, my opinion. But that's deep. And look at the song that helped them get caught. So, like I told you, I shouted out Spectrum Wave Medium earlier in my in this episode here. So we're gonna get into their TikTok, Spectrum Wave Medium. I thought this is a great way to kind of sum it up, and then you all join me in the comment. Well, I'm not gonna just end it like that. We're gonna, how I do, but we're gonna get into this. I'm gonna break down some commentary, and then I'll circle back at the end. So let's continue.
When Monique came out and had a public announcement and was talking about the bonnets and how people were wearing their flip-flops and pretending like they're coming out of their bed and wearing PJs and stuff and going outside, you guys took it as some kind of offense and saying that she needs to mind her business and she's too old and this and everything. But you made, when there was a public announcement from a man who's in charge of the DOT in the federal government was telling people in the airports that you will not be prohibited to go into the airport if you have a certain type of attire that makes you look like you're going to bed. Okay? Then all of that had to start to choose to freeze out. Okay? But when Monique said it, she was being a hater. And y'all was making that as a comedy skit in the BET Awards. Okay, let's keep this. India
The blessed BET Awards. Let's continue.
Arie is a person that's in the genre of the arts. And she's very creative, which everybody knows. And she has a platform, but her platform, it speaks for herself based on the value of work that she does. So when she's looking at my Young Miami, she's not trying to bash her. No. She's looking at the situation that here is a woman who's also a mother, and she comes on this, being on this platform, and all those little ratchet things you used to do back in the days when you were younger. Okay? Now you're growing, and every year you grow, there's growth, and that's maturity. What she's trying to say is, because if you listen to what India Arie was saying based on her explanation, she was saying that because of her anthem, spend that blah blah blah, and where's my scammers, where you at, and blah blah blah, it's also being a radar to the law enforcements, because people are coming on this app and they also showing they're scamming things that they stole from the store.
And I'm going to tell you like this, not just that mother and daughter. You hear me? And then there's people up here that, they scam, and then they pretend like they're living a great life. And the scam looks different depending on who it is, where they at, and what they're trying to scam you from or for. But there's a lot out there, and that's why I'm telling you, discernment has to be at an all-time high. Okay? They have romance scams. Okay? Are you familiar with that? I thought that was just, old people, like back in the day when they would get called on the phone and get like some phone scam. And it's like, oh, the guy loves me, a prince from Nigeria. And it's like, grandma, you fell for that, and not the hood grandmas. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? And you're like, not my granny wouldn't fall for that, but you know what I'm saying. People fell for that back in the days. But there's more romance scams now than ever. I literally was like, fell down a rabbit hole one day. I'm like, I don't know what I was doing, but I was like sitting in my car, like I was waiting for something. I'm sitting in my car, so I'm like, all right, let me, scroll through social media, and I landed on TikTok. That's what I was doing. I was waiting for the post office to open. That's what I was doing. But I'm scrolling through social media, and I'm like, okay, TikTok. I landed into TikTok rabbit holes. I landed in a live. And the live was very interesting because it was just like young guys on like from other countries, right? So, and I'm just scrolling, like I'm not landing on any particular one, but I'm just scrolling. And it's like the first one is like a guy, he's in like, I don't know, Africa somewhere. And good looking guy, right? And you see, he's like, send me stars, send me stars, send me stars, right? And the girls are sending him stars and everything. And then he's like, who's gonna send me a passport? Who's gonna send me a passport? And you should see, it's like, blah, blah, blah. I'll send for you to Switzerland. I'll send for you to Germany. I'll send for you to America. Like they're going crazy. So I was like, this is real. This is real. I scrolled, so I said, nah, let me scroll on through. Scroll to the next one. It's another dude in like Trinidad. So doing the same thing. Hit me with the galaxy. I want the galaxy, like Milky Way, and they hitting them with the emojis and stuff, like paying. That's money. And then they're like asking like, who wants to, who's gonna be my sponsor? Who's gonna take me to wherever you at? Who's gonna fly me in? And it could be just jokes and banter, but it's interesting. It's interesting. Like for in the name of romance, it's like, do you not see the other 1,000 women up there sending him stars too? Like, but they don't care. So you see those romance like and scams or whatever like that. You see music scams. You see a lot of music scams like, oh, pay this amount of money, we'll get your music here. Pay this amount of money, you'll get to sit down with the exec for NBC TV, and you're like, okay, you pay the money and dun dun dun. It's this, it's this. All right. So you see all types of scams, okay, going on. So I feel like I'm on the fence. I feel like it's the world we're in. It's an influx. It's an epidemic. The scamming that's going on. So that's what makes the song aware and such a good. It makes it a good song, because it's catchy because of what's going on right now. But it's also doing is working behind the scenes because the police are using it apparently to see what you're posting with it. Let's continue.
That they have boosted, and they're coming on the social media and they're talking about it and they're even boasting about it. And she's saying like, and she said this, Young Miami was an example, but she also talked about the negative stigmatism that is in the music industry, where guys are trying to pretend like they are thugs and being gangsters, okay? But it is an open door for them to go to jail or be in prison. And it's another open door for our youth. See, India Arie comes from the generation, I think she came from my generation. In our generation, before the gangster rap and girls wearing the booty pops and stuff and celebrating the accolades for scammers, we had music that talked about spiritual lifting music. And we
I
also
agree.
talked about the community, how we can build our community. But when you're saying these things, it's like you're promoting and opening the door for the law enforcement because they said they're making this as an anthem for them because they're catching the scammers, especially with good old social media.
I
I
can
know
see
I
it.
repeated this before, but from listening to other contents, instead of me going into their contents and thinking I'm trolling on them, I think some of y'all need to paddle back and start to look at the judgment of this. She's not criticizing her. She just thinks that she should do better with her music and not with this. Because it's opening the door for our people to be locked up in prison. That's all she said. And even if she did approach her and had a conversation with her, knowing Young Miami, she's going to feel offended and saying that she's being a hater and go, whatever. Young Miami has intelligence. She's not stupid. She knows how to align herself, but she aligned herself with the wrong thing. And I think sometimes she needs to grow and try to change her whole entire thing because I bet you somebody influenced her to sing this song, okay, and use this as a song piece to make money. But she don't look at the consequences of the whole entire thing, okay? See, we're a village that builds our people. We're not a village to destroy our people because back in our days, that's what we did. The elders, you see, the elders don't want to be bothered because they know that these young folks don't want to listen. So we pretty much leave them alone, okay? But back in the days, if someone was older than you and you look up as a sister or elder or this, you should not take it as a criticism. And the people on social media should not take it as a criticism. How many times, okay, look at the statistics of people that have been arrested already because of this song. Because they were sitting there scamming and coming on social media and say, yeah, I got the bags, y'all. I got the pocketbooks. Look what I just finished getting.
Well, I just saw two so far off of the song. But if there's any more out there, send them my way. I would love to follow up on this to see is this song really being used to track down the boosters and the scammers on the social media. And that's what I'm saying. If it is, you just the song could be doing the Lord's work, right? Because if you think about the whole cycle that I just explained, right? If they have to compensate or make up for the loss, which is getting larger and larger every year, then they're gonna have to make up for that loss again on the same public that they're taking the loss from. So they're gonna say, "Hey, I know you guys are law-abiding citizens, and I know it's about maybe 1 to 5% of you that are not, but the rest of you all, you got to take the L and you got to pay for it, right?" So it can be a way that it kind of will even out, if it kind of it stops or slow down. And then some people might be like, well, it ain't hurting us. They go into high end luxury stores and stuff like that. It does. Even if you think it's just because it's not just high end luxury stores. I seen something now, they weren't using to spend that song or whatever, but I see where somebody got, and they was like in like the Midwest somewhere. They was like in Ohio somewhere. And they were selling like DoorDash orders or something crazy. I was watching it on YouTube, and it was like a whole police and I was like, how did they find how but someone in California's credit card was being used by someone in Florida ordering like pickup from DoorDash. So I don't know if they got the alert. They sent the police out there to the restaurant, and the dude went to pick up from his food, and he was like, "I'm just picking up food," and he was like, "Well, who bought you the food?" He was like, "Oh, my friend, just I told him I was hungry, and he ordered me the food, and I'm just picking up." So that part of the scam was sketchy to me because it's like, what is happening? But he ultimately come to find out he's paying someone, or like say $10 or whatever, and he calls them on the phone, and then they were ordering the food in his area. So he called someone in Ohio, and then they ordered the food in Florida for him. And then the person in California whose credit card it was called the police in that area, and they went to the restaurant and basically intercepted the order and arrested that guy. And I don't even think the guy or the person in Ohio got arrested. But that's what I'm saying. Scam. Okay. And then how about the guy who probably was hungry and probably only had $10 or whatever the case may be, and said, let me give this a try. I might get a really nice dinner tonight. He gets jail. So the scam is not helping everyone. But I saw that and I was like, I don't even understand the dynamics of this scam, but that's crazy. And then he went to pick up the food and got arrested, and he didn't even place the order. It was crazy. But let's
Like,
continue.
come on. I'm a booster. Come on. What India Arie did was nothing wrong. Just the same thing when Monique has said, y'all are coming out to the airports and coming on the streets like you just roll out of bed. You know? But you had to wait until someone from the federal government to say that he don't want to see you on the streets or even in the airport wearing uniform, wearing pajamas. Okay. Here's my thing.
And I get
When
what she's saying. I get what she's saying right there, because I remember that a couple of years ago. A lot of people was like, Monique was wrong for saying that, or blah blah blah. But I come from the same generation of probably spectrum wave medium. You know where. And then I guess I'm also old school Jamaican, where when we fly to Jamaica, you dress up, dress, be it undressed from morning for take your flight and land. And as soon as you land, because it take a few hours, right? Depending, God forbid, if it's a connecting flight or whatever, but it's gonna be a few hours. And then when you get there, you land and you drive to town and you get to where you get to, you take a next shower, you're fresh on beard. Now you can woosah and either maybe take a nap, or then now you get up and go enjoy your family and friends. You see what I'm saying? So never ever have I ever, traveled with bed gear on, pajamas, big fluffy shoes, headscarves and bonnets. I sleep in a headscarf and a bonnet. But I think that's where my headscarf and bonnet should be. Does that make any sense? I remember back in the days when I lived in Virginia. Because I lived in Virginia for a couple of years, 757 stand up. And it was like on the news or something about they finally got rid of the law, because it was a law that black women could not wear rollers and their head, like a headscarf with rollers and their curlers in their hair. Back in the day, your mom with curlers walking around the house, etc. Sometimes your moms wear the curlers to the grocery store. I know mine did. We were in New York though. And she was like, I'm not getting my hair messed up. Like, she just done her hair up, and maybe she got somewhere to go tomorrow. But guess what? Today we went on our errands doing groceries, and my hair is going to curl and stay in place. But I get it. Virginia, so seeing it in New York, I'm seeing, like you go to the Dominican hair salon, and they send you out with your pins. You get your wrap is gonna be busting. But guess what? I got a helmet on my head right now, full of pins, like a pin hat, because they would put it nice and neat, but it was pinned up. Or rollers, and send you on your way, right? And then you go home and comb it out and pin it up yourself. So coming from New York, it wasn't a thing for me. Like, oh my God, younger, because you kind of knew the mission. Okay, there's a mission on it, but in them rollers, she's just not wearing them to be wearing them. It's gonna be something, right? But Virginia, for a long time, and I don't even know how long, banned women, in particular black women, from wearing rollers outside, like in their hair or wearing a scarf on their head. I know Louisiana also. Now I experienced that. I didn't experience like we didn't have the like no one enforced it, if you will. But I also didn't wear scarves and stuff like that outside, like bonnets and stuff. I had always had locks, so whatever, you know what I'm saying. That didn't really bother me or even come across my mind. But when I saw it in the news and they was like talking about it, like, oh, fun fact, they just got rid of that law or something, and I was like, what? It was really a law for targeting just us? That's crazy. But in Louisiana, there was a similar law too, because I believe it was like something where the governor or of the state, and this is years ago, like in slavery time, I believe, or post slavery time, like right post slavery time, they were saying that the freed women were feeling like they could walk around and wear nice clothes, the black freed women, because they were free. Whereas the slave women kind of still were modest, right? Because they were slaves. And he said he ain't like that. He said they all need to be feeling the same way. So he's gonna make them all wear a scarf on their head as a reminder to that they less than. So he did the opposite, where he made them wear scarves, right? So it's so many different type of what's the word I'm looking for? Stigmas, right? And negative attachments, to women and hair and stuff like that, right? As it is. It made me think of that because of the Monique situation at the airport. But I remember when that happened, and I'm telling you, it was a point in time where we traveled a lot. Like we still do travel, but it was a point in time where we were in the airport a lot, right? And I'm a New Yorker. I'm from New York, and all of that. But I dress up. Not saying I dress up, but I'm comfortable. I got my sneakers on, and then you got to think about it, you're going through these checkpoints and all this other stuff, right? So you put on clothes that's functional, that's gonna get you in and out, right? Get you through checkpoints, get you to the gate, etc. Right? Comfortable clothes, clean looking, but you ain't trying to be in your pajamas, right? And I swear to you, and I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not trying to be rude or even be passing judgment. So I'm sending my kisses out there. But I felt like every time I seen someone roll up in that type of gear, like the pajamas, etc., they had a problem at their gate. It may not necessarily even been my gate that they were over there on my flight or anything, but you see it play out like. So I see it and I understand how that became a ban. And that's the thing. Our community don't like to hear it from us. It's like, just like the girl said, just like Spectrum said, she was like, when Monique said it, yeah, I said she was a hater. But when the guy from the Department of Transportation over the airports and everything said that this is not going to work and this is going to be a problem and it's banned, then y'all abided by the rules. But it's like, why do we have to get there? Why do we have to get that far? Right? So I know it's a little bit off to the left, but I kind of understood what she was saying at the end there as well. But just to kind of bring it back to the song, I think that is an interesting conversation to have. I think it's a summer jam. I think it's a good song, but I do see how it can be like sending the wrong message to new people or certain people, like that mother and daughter duo who did way too much. But I'm gonna leave it right there, guys, and you join me in the comments and you tell me what you think. All right, don't meet me there, beat me there, okay? And right now I'm gonna hit you with the motto and I'm gonna leave you with the brand. If you like anything I do, tell a friend. If you don't like anything I do, tell a friend. And from my lips to your ears, you know I love you, right? But I need you to love me. So go ahead, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn your notifications, guys. Hype me up, okay? And then if you run out of hypes, because I understand that, just share it. Tell a friend, and tell a friend. And until next time, it's your girl Gangali, and it's She Could Talk the Podcast.
And what she's trying to say is...
And I'm out. Peace.
Talk about it.